Our next guest is a fourth-generation psychic medium. He's known as the lawyer psychic. Mark Anthony has written another fascinating book. This is his second, titled Evidence of Eternity, Communicating with Spirits for Proof of the Afterlife. And we are so happy to talk with Mark because he is here for a couple different local events and to obviously talk about this book. It's got everybody talking. So first of all, it's great to have you here, Mark.
Thanks, Linda.
And the things that you talk about, you have been, like I say, a fourth-generation psychic medium.
Yes.
So this has been with you, this opportunity to be able to contact and talk with spirits has been with you your whole life.
It has. Since I've been about 4 years old, I was able to perceive spirits. And what was cool about it, Linda, is both my parents could see them as well, so they didn't treat me like I was, abnormal or weird. They understood and they told me, let's just keep it at home.
Yeah, well, you know what's great is that they didn't, like you said, they didn't tell you were crazy or anything like that. They just encouraged and said, yeah, this is what we've lived with all our lives. What I love about your book is that the book is comforting because it addresses the afterlife and the comforting experience that people have had. No fear once the fear and superstitions have been removed.
Exactly, and that's the main theme of Evidence of Eternity, is removing the primitive fear and superstition that surrounds the afterlife and spirit communication. Because, when somebody you love dies, even if you are filled with faith, you go through the void, you start to doubt, and it's comforting to know that there are not only religious and spiritual reasons for the afterlife, but a scientific basis for it as well.
And you talk about that, and you tackle a lot of things in the book that I think a lot of people are reticent to talk about.
Yes.
You talk about their spirit and religion and the connection. Instead of saying, oh, I'm religious, you know what I mean, this must be the devil working. You even discuss the devil in all of this.
Well, God exists in spite of religion, not because of religion. And I'm a big proponent of people having faith as long as your faith is being used for peace, love, and understanding and not to justify anger, bigotry, hatred, or violence. That's where it all goes wrong.
Right.
Because it ceases to be about God and it becomes about ego, which is edging God out when people use a belief system to justify their own ego-driven political and violent agendas. And we're seeing that all around the world now. Unfortunately.
Right. And you were saying where the mistake is made. Like you say, that's somebody who's using something that we cherish as religion for something that they manifest themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the devil, too.
The devil isn't the archetypal guy with the wings,
the horns,
the horns and all that. The devil is the ego. And if you think about it, Linda, whenever somebody does something cruel, is it because they're acting out of love for others, or is it all a me as the center of the universe, a me, very self-centered, very selfish agenda? And that's the balance between spirituality and the ego. And the light of God is pure and filled with love and cannot be polluted. However, it can be blocked, and that's where the ego comes in.
Right. You also talk about the opportunity to contact spirit, and how it works with karma and reincarnation.
Yes.
Which I think is interesting as well.
Reincarnation is openly discussed these days. In fact, in all the near-death experience studies, and Evidence of Eternity is endorsed by the top 3 near-death experience researchers in the world, and the scientific community has been extremely receptive to it. Because people that have a near-death experience where they cross into the light and come back, they all talk about reincarnation.
Right.
And in a spirit contact, all the spirits talk about there is no hell, at least in the archetypal sense, but there is a series of lifetimes. So one thing I can say about karma, it never loses an address.
No, but I love how you address all the different things that keep people from getting the comfort from knowing spirit is there.
Yes.
Because they'll put religion in front, or I'm this and I'm that, and I believe in this instead. It all works together, it really does. And you put it in there so nicely that these are not things that block you from having that peace.
Well, what we're seeing now, there's physicists all over the world who are explaining that the soul does exist. They refer to it as consciousness. And one of the lectures that I'll be giving throughout the country and on my Mayan cruise coming up in October, and at the Lilydale Assembly here this Saturday at 2 p.m. is how quantum physicists are explaining that the electrical activity, the quantum field in the brain, is neither created nor destroyed, it's only transferred. So So when we die, the quantum field, the consciousness, which in matters of faith we refer to as the soul, lives on. And that's just one of the things I touch about in Evidence of Eternity.
It's a great book. And you know what I love about it, too? You also talk about the fact that a lot of people will say, heaven isn't going to be heaven unless I'm reunited with my pet. And you discuss that in here as well.
Any being capable of the emotion of love is capable of spirit communication. And it was very comforting for me to see the segment earlier in the show about animals, because as St. Francis of Assisi said, you are judged by how you treat your fellow man based on how you treat your fellow creatures. So people who are inherently cruel to animals tend to be pretty cruel to other human beings. And these creatures come into our lives and they bond with us and they bring us love and unconditional love.
Yes, and I think it's so right on. This book kept me up for the last 2 nights, I have to tell you, in a good way. And this is available everywhere, I would imagine, probably Amazon.com. But as Mark said, it's going on a cruise, a Mystic Mayan cruise in October, and there's still room on the ship. If you'd like to know more, if you want to get the book, you want to read Mark's first book, let me tell you, we have that information. You can go to the psychicexplorer.com, okay? There's a 1-800 number there as well. And again, you're going to be at Lilydale this weekend. You're going to be at the Unity Church tonight with gallery readings, right?
Yes, and Evidence of Eternity and my first book, Never Letting Go, will both be available at the Unity Church.
All right, you come back and visit?
I look forward to it, Linda.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
You're going to love this. You're going to get the peace that you've been looking for, and you're going to say, I had a feeling this was all true all along. You're going to love Mark's book, so go and get it. Evidence of Eternity, Communicating with Spirits for Proof of the Afterlife. Fascinating.